welcome back to yet another episode of the Essays and Espresso podcast. This time we're going to be talking about plot holes. But before that, I am your host, Daniel, and with me are my two good friends. Boken, how are you?
Fantastic.
And Acer.
Yes. I'm also fantastic.
That's a lie.
Hey now.
Oh, like Christopher Eccleston in that season of the Doctor Who.
What? The fuck?
See, it just immediately we nosedive into nerd territory.
Dude, you make the worst references today. I have gotten 0 of your references.
So, in Christopher Eccleston's season of Doctor Who,
this is where the conversation was supposed to go.
So,
exactly.
Shut up. Every Doctor has like his own little quirk, and Eccleston's quirk as the Doctor was he loved to say "fantastic."
Wow, what a quirk!
See, yeah, when I said you make the worst,
he did it with such enthusiasm. It was infectious, and Eccleston is such a great actor that like whenever he did it, you could just feel like how happy and enthusiastic he was.
He was the villain in Thor 2.
It was in fact fantastic.
I'm sure he's the only person to ever say fantastic to the question of how are you.
I don't know if he actually does. When he says that something is fantastic, he's talking about something in, he'll look at something or something is happening and he'll see like that's fantastic rather than referring to himself as fantastic.
Glad we got that cleared up.
That was
this really enriched my life, Daniel. Thank you.
I promise not to edit this out.
Don't you dare. I need to get my Doctor Who nerdisms out there. Anyways, going to the other side of the fucking spectrum, I've been watching The Sopranos.
Yeah. You want to introduce the topic first? Sopranos. You want to introduce the topic first?
You did already? Jesus.
No, I already did. That was like the first thing I did.
Oh, I'm going to edit this part out, definitely.
This is a nightmare.
That's humiliating for me.
You shut your whore mouth. So, I've been watching The Sopranos. I've only seen the first 3 episodes out of 6 seasons.
When people listen to these episodes, you can always tell which episodes I edit, because in every single one of them I make these grand announcements of what I'm going to edit out, and I never do.
Yeah.
Can I continue?
Yes, you can continue.
Thank you, you fuck. Anyways, so this is gonna sound kind of weird, but like the reason why I'm watching The Sopranos, aside from hearing that it's a really good show, my friend Dom especially was like, yeah, it's really good, you should watch it. But like the actual impetus was I saw a couple of videos. One was actually an analysis video about like a scene from the show, and I thought it was really interesting. But I also saw Donkey's video on the Sopranos video game, and it was the funniest shit. I normally don't watch Donkey, but that video in particular, I thought was pretty funny. And then there's another video by this dude named Cybershell, who usually does Sonic-related videos. And he didn't even do a video about the Sopranos. What he did a video on something entirely different. But he said, before you can watch the rest of this video, you have to watch The Sopranos. And then he made it clear, this is not a video about The Sopranos. There's no spoilers for The Sopranos. But to have the right to watch the rest of the video, you have to watch The Sopranos.
He just randomly decided that.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that guy. He's fantastic, you might say. But anyway,
I'm gonna start my next video with you need to have watched all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies in order to proceed. Objects. No, that one's too late.
Very good job on that video, by the way. I liked it a lot. But
Thank you.
We'll get into that later. So, like I said, I only saw the first 3 episodes, and I already love the show. I think it's great. So, what I think is really interesting about the show is that the main character, Tony Soprano, makes frequent trips to his therapist. And this therapist is actually played by the same actress that did Ray Liotta's wife in Goodfellas, which is pretty neat. But the conversations that he has with his therapist are really interesting because Tony is a smart guy. Like, he's witty and he's sharp, but he's not very educated.
He's street smart.
Yes. And he's as a result, and he also lacks a certain amount of self-awareness. So he's talking to the therapist and they're having these like deep conversations about his thoughts and his feelings, and she's trying to like analyze the things that he's saying and the things that he's done. She's trying to extract, stuff out of that, and he's like he's not reciprocating. He doesn't want to acknowledge what she's saying because he was born with a lot of toxic masculinity, and he was born, and taught thinking that like what a man's gotta do is what a man's gotta do, that kind of like fake machismo bravado bullshit, and she's trying to break that down, and he's struggling to try to like to really comprehend and accept what she's saying. So I always find those conversations that they have like really interesting. And I think it's also part of like the Italian culture because like he has a strained relationship with his mother. Like his mom's a fucking cunt. Like, holy shit. Like, some of the shit that she does in the show is frustrating to watch.
Daniel is on one of his anti-women rants again, everyone.
No, I am anti this woman. She is a massive cunt job. Like, holy shit. Like, she's 7 years old, and she barely knows how to use a phone. But, like, she refuses to accept anyone's help. She set a fire in her own home, and then after the fact, when offered, like, hey, you can live with us, you can do this, you can do that, you need someone to help you, blah, and she just, like, her literal response was just, bleh. Like, that was literally her response. Like, bleh, no. Like, it's just fucking stubborn old broad. And Tony, like, when he's talking to his therapist, she's trying to get him to admit that, like, he has a lot of anger towards his mother. But he kind of took that as, like, oh, you hate your mom. And that's not what she was trying to say, just that he does have these negative feelings towards her. And the Italian culture is just so, like, family focused, and it's so like you gotta respect your mother, you gotta respect your father, it's like it's that family is everything mentality. So like even the notion of accepting that he might have some anger towards his mother is so inconceivable to him. He storms out of the office. Like he doesn't even want to entertain it, despite the fact that she's fucking right. Like, his mother is a huge cunt, has been treating him like shit his whole life, continues to treat him like shit, even though he's the only offspring that has actually bothered to take care of her. So I feel like if I keep going, I'm just gonna keep ranting about the show because like it's so interesting, and the characters are really fascinating, and their relationships and the dynamics are so well written. And this is just 3 episodes. Like, granted, each episode's like an hour long, so there is a lot to digest.
I kind of want to watch it too.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah,
it's really fucking good.
Probably.
You guys should do a commentary on it.
The entire thing.
Yeah.
All 6 seasons, each episode like an hour long.
Yeah.
Like the Sopranos is one of those. The Sopranos is one of those shows that's just so daunting to get into, but because everyone talks about it, I've been meaning to get into it for years. It's like Twin Peaks.
Oh, I love Twin Peaks. Well, I never saw the last season that they came out. I only saw the first 2 seasons in the movie. But oh man, Twin Peaks is fucking great. You should definitely fix that. Especially season 1. Season 2 has some good stuff in it, but season 2 also veers off into like some really silly shit.
Maybe I'll start the Sopranos. I just realized I have a time slot for a new show.
I mean, Twin Peaks you'll certainly get through that a lot faster, but like Sopranos is, at least so far.
Will
again,
I?
Only based on 3 episodes so far, but so far, yeah.
Wait, how many episodes are there in a Sopranos season?
I don't know.
Don't tell me 20.
Like 12 or something.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't believe early 2000s television would have produced 20-hour-long episodes. Would they?
I hope not.
Okay, I would imagine each episode. Okay, so season 1 is 13 episodes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so each season is 13 episodes, with exception to season 6, which is 21 episodes.
Oh!
Well, that's the bad one, right? Everyone hates the ending.
I think people. I haven't heard like straight up hatred. I've heard more of like, I think people hate it at the time, and I think over time people have reflected on the ending differently.
Isn't the problem with the ending that people wanted some like grand ending to it, and it wasn't?
I don't know.
I think that was the problem, that people's expectations were poorly tuned to the ending or something.
Yeah, unfortunately I do know what the ending. Not the full context of the ending, but I do know what the ending is, and it is kind of like anticlimactic. So I can see why people would be disappointed in that respect, but like the ending is more ambiguous, and I think you and I, as like film aficionados, people who enjoy the art of film, would probably not have a problem with the ending, but like normies watching it, getting a more like ambiguous artsy ending would probably be like, what the fuck is this? Where's the gabagoo?
Yeah, that's what the normies would say.
Phrase that any more pretentiously?
Am I wrong?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I feel like we've alienated everyone who can take offense to being called a normie. Anyone who can't listen to a bunch of pretentious jerk-offs is probably turned off by now, right?
I mean, come on. Who the fuck is still watching past like episode 2? Or minute 2?
They were like, Doctor Who? Nope. And turned off.
Get it out of here. Anyway, so actually another reason why I watched The Sopranos was because I watched Goodfellas for the first time recently. And yeah, that movie is as great as everyone makes it out to be. It's fucking fantastic. What's interesting is watching The Sopranos, I actually make some reference to it. There was one scene in particular I really liked where Tony's wife is talking to a priest, and he's talking about some mobster movies. And he's like, oh, I really like Goodfellas. Not Goodfellas, The Godfather. And he's like, oh, I prefer the first one. What does Tony think? She's like, oh, he prefers the second one. He really likes this one part or whatever. And then he says, oh, what does he think about Goodfellas? But then something happens and he gets cut off. And I find that really interesting because Goodfellas, especially watching it now, Goodfellas kind of represented a shift in the mobster lifestyle in real life, because something like The Godfather was more of like almost a glorification in a sense. Like mobsters felt proud of The Godfather. While Goodfellas, in Goodfellas, Henry Hill ratted out people in the mob, and he basically got to live, a normal life afterwards, and he, part of the witness protection program. And because of like the things that he said and he revealed, it basically forced the mobster lifestyle to be more underground rather than more out in the open. And that's something that you see in Goodfellas. Like, the way that the movie starts, Henry is like, ever since I was a kid, all I ever wanted to be was a gangster. Being a gangster was better than being the president of the United States. Like, it was, you were the coolest guy. You were like, you were it. You were untouchable.
Speaking of which, Sean Connery passed away.
Yeah, that is definitely a bummer.
Way to date the episode.
Also a way to kill the conversation.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, thanks for that. Anyways,
Goodfellas is a very good movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I feel like I've forgotten a lot of the details, but
I remember the second half of that movie, Ray Liotta was incredibly oily throughout it.
Yeah, because he was because he started taking drugs and he was becoming addicted to him. Those were the withdrawal symptoms. But anyways, yeah, so going back to The Sopranos real quick. So like kind of how I took the priest getting cut off. I was going to ask like, "Oh, what does Tony think of Goodfellas?" That's because the perception is that like what Henry Hill did for the mafia was a bad thing. So it would stand to reason that Tony would feel negatively about Goodfellas. So I just thought that was like an interesting detail in the way that the scene was framed rather. But yeah, the only other thing I've done recently is I played more of Killzone Mercenaries. I'm pretty much at the end of that game. It's pretty short. It's only like 9 missions. And it's a pretty solid first-person shooter. It is a bit of a bummer that it's stuck on the Vita. Like, I'm playing it and I'm like, God, I just wish that I had a keyboard and mouse. But like for a game that's on the Vita, it is shockingly well made. Like the graphics on it are phenomenal. Like it's the best looking Vita game I've ever played. Like makes Uncharted look lame by comparison. The guns feel good. I really like the currency system in the game. Depending on like whether you melee someone or like if you just shoot someone and they die in a normal way, you don't get as much money. But if you headshot them, you get a little more money. If you kill 2 people right after another, you get a little bit more money. If you melee someone, you get more money. If you kill someone from behind, like if you stealth kill them, that will net you more money as well. And then you could turn around and you can use this cash to either get more ammo or, more interestingly, different guns. So you have 2 different types of guns. You have your primary weapon, and you have your secondary weapon. Now, primary weapons range from assault rifles to machine guns to sniper rifles. But your secondary weapon can either be a pistol, a shotgun, or like a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher. And since you can only carry, one of each, it really forces you to think what it is you want to carry with you. So for a while, I was playing the game, I had an assault rifle and I had a silenced pistol. But recently, I decided to get a sniper rifle and a shotgun. And I've been actually having more fun with the sniper rifle and the shotgun combo.
I really dislike this. I disliked that trend when it happened, like, whatever, 8-9 years ago, where suddenly games were just limiting your inventory to 2 weapons at most. Every fucking
Uncharted,
Battlefield, Uncharted, all these games, like, and then you get Doom 2016, and suddenly you have like an arsenal of 8 weapons that are all drastically different, and you realize, hey, this is fun.
Ratchet and Clank never buckled, for the record.
Yeah, but Resistance did buckle.
Insomniac
made by the same
us.
developers.
I know this crazy person who thinks third-person shooters play better with mouse and keyboard.
Boken?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? I never got that argument, like, at all.
I'm just saying, I know a crazy person who's like that.
You are still aiming with a reticule. What the fuck does it matter if you're in first or third person?
Because it's better moving around with a 360 degrees joystick.
That's
be locked to an octagonal movement scheme.
So not true.
Get out of here.
Fuck are you talking?
Get out of here.
Why would that be better?
Because it's like when you're in first person, you're like inside of a ball moving around. When you're in third person, you're outside of the ball and you're moving around it. And it just feels better to be able to navigate the environment more precisely.
Are you saying that...
I feel like we should have a joystick when we play first person games. Joystick for movement and a mouse to look around. I think that would be the optimum.
I mean, as someone who's playing a lot of Valorant, I can tell you that's not at all the case, because sometimes you want to jiggle peek. You want to just, quickly go back and forth and peek out from the corner. And that's way better with A&D.
Yeah, but you can also map movement to the D-pad as well, and then you can quickly jump between the two.
No, then you would have to do like the claw grip and then go left, right. And even then, it's not going to be as efficient as AD.
You know what? Here's another movement scheme thing I hate. And I'm not like one of those crazy anti-PC games. I think I play most of my games on PC. I fucking hate the setup for PC keyboards. My hand has never felt comfortable on VAST. It's always just like somehow stretching one ligament of my hand and bending another, and it's just awful.
Clearly you're not a real gamer.
Having to navigate on top of buttons.
What?
I'm not a real gamer. I'm not a nerd.
A console pleb.
Oh God.
My PC crashes whenever I attach a controller to it. Some driver issue, I don't know.
That sounds bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, wait. Other question.
Yeah. What is it?
Dual stick shooters. Do they play better on like 2 sticks or on mouse and keyboard?
Dual.
I don't know. I haven't tried
can you give me
mouse and keyboard.
What's a dual stick shooter? Is that like top down shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah, like top down, like Hotline Miami.
Oh, I feel like probably mouse and keyboard, only because of the mouse, though. It offers you more precision. But then I don't really play those games, so I can't say.
I can see arguments for both, honestly.
Killzone Mercenaries is pretty good. If you have a Vita, give it a shot.
If you're one of the 3.
One of the 3 people that actually bothered to
buy
a Vita.
Well, that's like a really small percentage of people. Like, not only do you need to own a Vita and own that game, you also need to be one of those lunatics who wants to play a first-person shooter on a handheld.
And you need to.
Are you calling me a lunatic?
I think you called yourself a lunatic, Daniel, through your actions.
I did not. No, that's bullshit. It's a good game. Get off my back. I even said though that like I kind of wish this was on PC, but whatever.
You could probably emulate it.
And yet you finished it.
Anyways, do Vita emulators exist?
Oh yeah.
No way. I don't believe that.
I have an emulator. Its name is RetroArch, and I can just swap between almost every console ever released. I played that horrible Jack the Last Frontier game for like 10 minutes. That's a Vita game, and I was like, this is shit. I don't want to play this anymore.
That had a PS2 version.
No,
right?
no, I think that was a PSP game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
PSP and PS2, not Vita.
Anyway, PSP is on there, so Vita is probably on there.
I've
just never been.
True.
It's almost certainly true. I'll look it up right now. This is what the audience has to deal with.
Oh god. Now
But
we have to listen
Boken, how's Coffee Talk?
to Ace's fucking keyboard sounds again.
Fucking ignore Asa. Boken, how was Coffee Talk?
Coffee Talk
I read
is cute. It's nice. I have to assume it's exactly like Valhalla. I haven't
Oh,
played
God
Valhalla.
damn it! Now
but-
everything's frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
Oh fucking hell!
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, my computer's like visually frozen. I can't see anything.
Nice job.
Oh God.
Let's lose
Oh,
this
you guys-
episode because of your dumb bullshit.
It's my emulators. It's Daniel's fault, really.
It's not my fault. Don't put this shit on
Okay,
me.
okay, it's back. It's back. See,
Jesus.
we're gonna lose this episode.
Jesus.
Anyway, Daniel, you have played Valhalla.
Yes.
Like,
I've talked about it on the podcast.
You
It
have.
is very, very good.
Yes.
I liked it a lot.
but tell me if this sounds familiar. You're a bartender.
Yes.
People come in to your bar and order drinks, and then you make drinks and listen to their problems.
That is exactly verbatim Valhalla.
Yeah.
Is this a mini clip game from 2004?
No. It's an indie game from 2020. So it's, it does Valhalla, do you see your character?
No, it's primarily first. Sometimes you can see her, like when she's in her apartment. Like you see her in her apartment. She's like interacting with her cat or playing on her phone.
Okay.
So there are some instances here and there where you can see her, but like when you're at the bar, no.
Does she talk?
I think yes, she
Okay.
she is her own character, and
This
she
is-
will interact with the patrons.
This is literally the same game somehow, except you're making coffee and not alcohol.
Well, then it's immediately better.
Well, actually, it's funny because it is a late night bar, but it's the only bar in town that serves coffee instead of alcohol, and that makes it like there's not a big crowd being drawn to the Coffee Talk. The bar is called Coffee Talk, but it's a loyal clientele, and it's just a cozy place to be in. So it's a visual novel basically, and sometimes you have to make a drink. The drink making is very simple because basically you just mix 3 different ingredients, and that's it. You need to know what to mix. You always start with the first ingredient being coffee or milk or tea or green tea or chocolate, and then you can add whatever else. Like there's, I don't know, cinnamon, lemon, honey, all that stuff. And
There's a coffee monopoly in Iceland?
No, I did not know that.
Well, let's dive into it.
Okay.
Well, that's nothing. It's just like every restaurant that has coffee buys it from Te and Kaffi, which is a Icelandic coffee and tea supplier. Every one of them does it. And it is such utter garbage. Their machines are shit, and the coffee they produce is absolute trash. Like, a drip pour coffee I buy from the store is better than that nonsense. But they've somehow got the monopoly. So,
It's a fierce market.
anyway.
Well, no, it's actually the opposite of a fierce market, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, coffee talk. The drink mixing, like, what kind of bothered me about it is it's so simple, and they will sometimes drop you hints about what you need to mix. And sometimes they always drop you some hints, but these hints sometimes are so fucking unclear. And there's an app that lets you record what you have mixed. But most of the drinks are not actually unlocked, and the game will not tell you how to do it. So I don't know how I'm supposed to know how to mix a specific drink, and I just have to guess.
New Game Plus.
Yeah, I guess there's some fuckery with the story where there's light time travel involved, funnily enough. But that's not satisfying. Like, I want my barista to be competent and know those fucking drinks. So, and why the fuck would I not be able to just go on the internet and check what is in there? Like, even if he didn't know, he should know that. And so I just started looking up all the drinks. Because I don't.
Yeah,
like,
I did the same. I did the same thing for Valhalla because I was like, I don't care. Like the drink mixing aspect of the game is like whatever. Like,
yeah, it's very basic. So when the game gives you nothing, it's very hard to just improvise.
Yeah,
and especially because
I was there for the characters and the story.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up. I didn't care. It sounds like Coffee Talk's like literally the same.
Yeah, and you can only throw away 5 drinks per day, so you can't just endlessly mix them together until you get the right thing.
Oh.
Okay, so in Valhalla, it's more lenient. They'll let you, like, if you give someone the wrong drink, that can screw you over. But like, if you're making the drink, you can mess up as many times until you get it the way you want to.
Yeah. That was not the case here, which kind of bothered me. So the fun thing about the game is the world itself, because it's basically fantasy. It's all these. It's our normal world, except the world is inhabited by all these fantasy trope races. So there's like vampires and werewolves and humans and dwarves and elves and all that shit.
Humans?
But they're all, funnily enough, one of the characters is writing a novel, and she's writing a fantasy science fiction novel about a planet that has only humans.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're turning the genre on its head.
Wrap your head around that shit, motherfucker. And it's all like modern. Everyone's wearing like modern clothes. Everyone basically gets around, and they talk about these little fun world building details about like the elves. You know, they are immortal, but this one elven character is in a clinch with his family, and if they disown him, he loses his immortality. And then like the one vampire character is 150 years old, so he's gone through a bunch of different careers, and he's always looking for something new, and he talks about that. So there's, you know, it's a fun little twist on the typical fantasy races, and they build on that in interesting ways. So, but yeah, there's not much else to the game. It's just enjoyable characters. Some of the dialogue is a bit wooden, not the greatest dialogue, but it flows really well. I noticed, like, the moment I started a new day, I had trouble just stopping, and then suddenly the day was over because I just kept reading, and you know, it was pulling me along, which I guess is
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. I actually have that game. I just haven't like gotten around to it, but it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Another game like that's in a similar vein. I haven't tried it. It's called the Red Strings Club. So if you want something, if you want something similar, that sounds like it's in the same party, I guess, same category. I've heard good things about it.
I'm still looking for some piece of media that is about alcohol. because I need something that I can pair up with the bartender anime when I want to pick that for our discussions.
Okay, well, I'm looking at
Oh yeah,
pictures
because that's happening.
of Red Strings Club, and there is a bar. It looks like there is alcohol.
Yeah, but I don't now want to start talking about bartender, but it needs to be about the alcohol.
Because the thing with like Valhalla is all the drinks are like made up, and none of them are real.
Yeah.
So like I don't think that necessarily will
Okay.
satisfy you.
Like bartender is so specifically about the social influence that alcohol has on us or can have on us, and not in a negative way.
You should read Dostoevsky then. That's that.
Okay. I think I read a Dostoevsky book. That was not
more
about
of them.
that.
They're all great. Well,
more. Jesus.
Every Russian book of that era is about how like alcohol destroyed this country.
Well,
everybody's
I don't want
depressed.
it to be so fucking glum though. That's the fun part about bartender.
I hate alcohol so much.
I'm gonna watch Cocktail next. I think that's a crap movie, but I'll suffer
with
through
Tom
it.
Cruise.
Yeah.
Crazy
Never seen that.
Scientology cultist.
Anyway, Asa, you've seen The Boys.
I have seen The Boys.
I
I've
have also
read
seen The Boys.
selected issues of it.
Let us talk about
So
The Boys.
I'm the expert of The Boys. Daniel has not seen The Boys.
I have not.
Have you seen Girls with Lena Dunham and Adam Driver?
No.
Wow, then.
I have seen neither the boys or the girls.
That is interesting. You have seen The Sopranos.
Yes.
This isn't going anywhere. What do you think of The Boys, Bogan?
It was decent. I enjoyed parts of it. I kind of rolled my eyes at other parts of it.
Yes.
I thought everyone loved season 2 for some reason. I thought season 1 was way stronger, but okay.
Yes. I agree with you so much.
Yeah. Season 1 felt very focused, like a story that needed to be told from start to finish. And then
it had energy. Season 2 was kind of meandering for
yes,
long
exactly.
whiles.
Because they didn't really finish any of the plot lines off in season 1, and then they just added a couple more in season 2, and it just kept diverging. But yeah, it's you would say it's a predictable twist on the superheroes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would. But I've read so many of these that I don't know what a normie, quote unquote, would say when they looked at this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had this discussion already, that it's somewhat predictable, although some of the scenes legitimately shocked me. I mean,
like that sex scene with the Deep when he was in Ohio or wherever he was. Oh, Jesus,
that was uncomfortable. Holy fuck.
That was so... I think he's my favorite thing from this entire show.
See, I hate him because so far he's gone nowhere. He had no fucking influence on this entire plot.
I know! He's just like this total washed out loser.
What a fucking loser.
And also that actor isn't great.
I think he's doing really good with that character.
Yeah, because he is so like unimportant. I feel like they specifically casted the most normal human being to be the Deep.
Like, hey, you're unimpressive.
Yeah.
In every regard.
You're like a normal-looking white guy with short hair. You can be the Deep.
I think he's the him and maybe A-Train are the only ones who've shown that they have abs, though. So he had to work out for that. He's the only one who got a superhero body. I mean, and it's like he looks like an average guy minus a couple of kilograms of fat.
Yeah.
I like that Scientology spin they took on him.
Yeah, but again, that went nowhere. Such a pointless plot.
Well, I think the point. Daniel? You haven't seen this, so we're not going to
Nope.
get into spoilers. I think the point of him is just like Aquaman sucks. Let's really put the boot into Aquaman. It kind of
Okay.
went somewhere with A-Train in the end of season 2, but like they could have cut this. I don't want him to cut it though. I really like that. What did you want to talk about this?
Well, what do I want to talk about? I feel like it's a fairly predictable twist on the superhero genre, but it did have a lot of scenes that just shocked me in how fucking stupid or how gruesome they are. And they come out of nowhere often. I mean, the first episode, that is not a spoiler because this is the setup, but it starts out with the main character, Huey. Like his girlfriend's his girlfriend visits his store, and then they go off on a date, and they just bonded over, oh, we're gonna move in together. And she gives him some good advice because they're together and shit, and then they're just holding hands, and suddenly this fucking superhero A-Train, who is the Flash basically, just runs through her, and you get this slow-mo shot of just blood. The entire screen is filled with blood in slow-mo as he is still holding onto her hands.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking rough. Like, and this is basically what sets off his character as, I'm going to seek vengeance on these superheroes who are all morally corrupt and don't care about anyone but themselves.
Yes.
But yeah, that scene, fucking Jesus Christ. That is a rough effect. And then all these other scenes, like in the beginning of season 2, where they need to look for a new member of the Seven. And here's this superhero. He's blind, but he's very good with the sword. And it's just this generic-looking Asian dude. And they bring him to Homelander this is the new member of the Seven. Then, okay, a blind Asian dude. Big fan. And then, but what happens if I do this? And then he just smacks him on the ears from both sides. And
destroys his hearing.
He just lies on the ground whimpering, blood going everywhere. Like, fucking hell.
That sounds awesome.
It is. Those scenes are pretty awesome because they're reliably shocking.
I think it's fair to say that Homelander is the standout character.
Yeah, he is.
This is way better than Homelander in the comics. Like, this character has nuance. I don't know if it's the acting. I don't know if it's the way it's written. But every scene is more interesting when he's in it.
Yeah, because for one, like, the actor is fantastic. Really the best performance in the whole thing. And then I just like he isn't an idiot. He's really smart. And he's also good at being, like, in the public and talking to people. It's like the setup is more that the heroes are products guided by the company. But he is smart enough to not be guided. Like, he lets himself be guided if he wants to. But, he's, like, indestructible. He's super strong. He kills people the moment he needs to or wants to. And so just every scene with him is completely unpredictable. And that's why I like him as a concept and as a force onto the narrative.
For the record, in the comic, he was kind of a dumb guy.
Yeah. But yeah, here he has a lot of agency, and he does a bunch of moves that just even his manager didn't expect. And they work out,
Do you know, in the comic, they're gonna do season 3, so I don't know how deep into the comic they're gonna go. in the comic, they have a spin on the X-Men that's called like the G-Men. And it's basically the same thing. You have like it's a superhero school led by this Professor X character. Except the Professor X character is also like this disgusting pedophile.
Of course.
And yeah,
And they are about to show up. Or what is your point?
I was gonna say, there's no. I feel like the show kind of leans too far into cynicism, where it's like, I feel like you could have done something a bit more earnest that wouldn't be keeping in like the comic is very cynical, but I feel like the message hits harder when it is kind of earnest rather than it's just like look at this, look at these superheroes, they're all just products.
Yeah, like everyone is a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
I guess not everyone. I mean, there are a couple superheroes who turn or reignite their humanity basically, but
yeah,
it is really cynical and really it is shockingly dark, and you sometimes you just notice that this is done for shock value or to have dark humor in it. And
you know what my favorite thing was? This is written by Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, right?
I don't know.
I think Warren Ellis did the Castlevania show.
This is probably Garth Ennis. I should know this. I feel like we talked about this when we did the Superman show. Yeah, it's Garth Ennis. It just kind of flew out of my head. I think the best example, like the most honest translation of his work ever, was done in that scene in that Christian camp where Carl Urban, Billy Butcher, he was like, he went on this rant about how God sucks and blobbity bloobity, and it's that could have been an atheist post on Reddit 10 years ago.
Yeah. There was really.
I was like,
I was waiting for him to just add something smart to it, but it was just that shallow, anti-religion rant.
So I don't think it's a very smart show. I think it is a very enjoyable show, though. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. I will watch season 3 when that comes out, though.
Okay. You said you were not sure if you wanted to watch season 3.
Yeah. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I may have just been tired the moment I'd finished it because I shotgunned both seasons pretty quickly.
Okay.
But having had some distance, I'm a bit excited. Jensen Ackles is gonna play Soldier Boy, who's like Captain America. And yeah, so
I'm gonna say
excited.
I was kind of down on season 2 for a lot of it because it was so all over the place. I do think the last episode was really good, though. They managed to tie up basically everything. It could have ended there, I feel like, and it was a satisfying ending for pretty much every character. And then they bring out that last
especially Stormfront.
Oh yeah, she had a fantastic. She's
conclusion.
She's whatever. And then that feels like a earned ending for pretty much everyone. And then they bring out that little twist at the end. That last scene where you go, oh shit. Now I got to keep watching. So that was. I did not expect them to wrap up this as well as they did.
So is there going to be a season 3 or?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Or what?
Believe they're filming it now. Or soon. I think they maybe begin in the beginning of 2021.
My dad has been watching The Boys as well, actually.
Well, why isn't he on the podcast contributing?
Oh, damn.
I don't know. Why don't you ask him?
Wow,
Gonna have
what a
a
comeback.
next episode. Season 3 talk is gonna be featuring Daniel's dad.
That would be interesting.
If my dad came here, he'd just be like, "You nerds," and he'd like pull out the bass and do like, it's more like a guitar or something. He'd just play music in the background.
Now my dad's also into some cool shit, so yeah, he wouldn't just call you guys nerds. He's all right.
My dad is not all right.
Anyways, we're gonna take a quick break since I assume we've all talked about everything we want to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have any real topics, sadly.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break and then we're gonna reconvene by talking about plot holes. See you then.
So I have this pothole at the end of my street, and the city council won't do anything about it. Get it? Because they kind of sound similar. Whoa.
What a amazing joke.
Thank you.
Really knocked it out of the park with that.
They say I'm this generation's David Spade.
Is that a compliment?
That's like just a nothing statement.
I don't know if that's more insulting to you or David Spade. I'm gonna get some water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get some coffee.
Woke up this morning, got some gabagoo. Woke up the next morning, got some more gabagoo.
Yes. I'll put that into the intermission song.
Keep waking up, keep getting more gabagoo. I even got some gabagoo from Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. That was horrible.
You're welcome.
That's my new ringtone.
Hey everyone, we're back. This time we're talking about plot holes. This was suggested by Boken. So, Boken, why don't you lead us on, tell us, why you wanted to talk about this and, all that good stuff.
Okay. It's actually going to be hard because I got this from a Twitter thread, but we said we are not going to call out anyone.
Yeah,
so
that's not cool.
I'll have to relay this information somehow. Basically, I saw a Twitter thread that was like, hey, 90% of plot holes don't fucking matter. If you focus on criticizing plot holes, you are missing the point. And plot holes usually happen because this is entertainment media, and entertainment media focuses on narrative and drama and
emotion.
Character development and emotion and themes. So if we just focused on everything making perfect sense and every character always making the perfect rational decision, then this shit would be boring. And that's why plot holes don't matter. The plot holes don't matter is kind of my part. I'm adding that, but I think that's the gist of the argument. And I took issue with that.
Okay.
And so I just want to talk about what are plot holes and is it fair to criticize them?
I'm going to preempt just saying I think there is a nugget of a really good statement in that tweet.
Yes. I was gonna say something similar.
but I also have a problem with the way it is put.
Yes. Before we get into any of that, it probably would be a good idea just to get across what a plot hole even is. So I'm going to look up the definition real quick. It says an inconsistency in the narrative or character development of a book, film, television show, etc. Another one is in fiction, a plot hole or plot error is a gap or inconsistency in a storyline that goes against the flow of logic established by the story's plot. Such inconsistencies include things as illogical, unlikely, or impossible events and statements, or events that contradict earlier events in the storyline.
Mm.
I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the long and short of it is it's a contradiction in the story, particularly one that like goes against what we understand of what the story has built up to that point. That's how I understand it.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
So-
I mean, I think a plot hole doesn't really like it can just be a convenience, right? Or something happening.
I
No,
feel like plot hole is. I feel like if it's just a convenience or something like that, I feel like that sort of makes it impossible to really address the tweet because it becomes too nebulous.
No, I don't think it's a convenience. See, this because when we were talking about Last of Us Part 2, you called me out on when I pointed out like, oh, the way that Abby meets up with Joel.
Are we
and
seriously
Tommy,
talking about Last of Us 2 again?
Yes, we are.
I thought I put the lid on this.
When I thought about us having this discussion on this recording, I actually thought of that example as well.
So I actually reflecting on because I said like that was plot convenience, and you pointed out, well, no, because that was Abby's goal anyway. And thinking about it, you were right, and you were right to call me out because I was wrong. And it is still technically a plot contrivance.
Keep going.
But
I like this.
It is still technically a plot contrivance, but I do agree, looking back, that it's not one that negatively affects the story because you're right. Abby was going after Joel anyways, so it doesn't really matter that the game went out of its way to expedite the process.
Whereas a hole would be if she, well, a plot hole is just like,
Like a plot hole is like if
plot
she
hole
like,
is I forgot my keys, but then she just has them anyway. That's a plot hole.
Or like if the entire story we understood this character to be right-handed, but then all of a sudden towards the end they're left-handed and there's no explanation given as to why.
Well, okay, but
I agree. I feel like that's kind of a bad example though, because that's not a plot thing.
But the reason
Sure, I'm just trying to give an example of like an inconsistency that doesn't get explained.
See, the reason why I'm okay with the Abby example is because there isn't necessarily a timer on her actions. She's not in danger. She can wait it out until she actually meets Joel. So that's why I think it's okay for the game to just speed it up.
Well,
If she was in a life or death
sorta.
situation and then she randomly happens to find the person that she's looking for, and only that's why she survives in the first place, then I would have an issue with it.
I mean, technically at that moment she was going to die. Right? Like she was about to die and she just so happens to be saved by Joel and Tommy.
I guess so.
In a sense she was on a timer, like her life was about to end.
I guess that's
But
true.
you know,
yeah.
whatever. I mean, again, I don't think that's a huge deal because it was for the sake of adding tension and excitement to the scene. But regardless, I don't consider that a plot hole because there's nothing that's contradictory. There's nothing inconsistent.
No, and again, but we haven't really made sure if there's a difference between a plot hole and a plot convenience.
Well, a thing being convenient is just like Majora's Mask. Link can turn back time because he has the Ocarina of Time. That sure is convenient for the sake of the story,
Well,
Oh,
no.
but
Whereas-
that is the story.
No,
that
no,
is
no,
the
but
setup.
no, yeah, I know, but the story doesn't work if not for that. You could say that's just convenient. You can so that is convenience, but a more like when convenience is an issue is just when it just so magically happens that soldiers were passing by in this here desert we're walking in, and they just so happen to be going where we're going, and we just so happen to get a ride.
So in my mind, like what comes to mind immediately when it comes to plot convenience, and it's so weird because it didn't really even need to happen, but like in Sword Art Online, Kirito is playing an MMO, and he just so happens to meet his cousin in the game, and they don't realize that they're playing the game together. The chances of that happening are like astronomical. Like, it is so fucking convenient. Oh, that out of like all the like the thousands of fucking people that are playing this game, not only did he happen to be in the right like server, not only did he happen to be in the right place in the right time, he meets his fucking cousin, and they're literally playing the game together, like, in the same house, and they don't even realize. It's ridiculous, like how convenient that is.
See, and the difference for me is always, does that matter? Like, does that come into play later? And did none of them really work towards it? Because you can set up a story where, okay, you have two people playing an MMO, and they don't know they are playing with each other, even though they know each other in real life. Like, that can be the setup of a story. That's where the story starts. That's not a convenience. That's just what the story is. But yeah, if it's a part of a different story, and then it comes into play, like as in influencing the other story, that's when it becomes problematic.
See, in Sword Art, it's more like a B plot. Like, it's not really relevant to the main events of the story. It's more related to like this weird thing where Suguha has like a crush on Kirito,
of course,
and she feels guilty about it because they're related. And then she thinks that she's found someone new that she can. She's like, oh, I really like this new guy that I found while playing the game. I could finally get over my cousin.
Oh no, it's him again.
Only to find out, no, she's like, I'm still in love with my cousin. Like, ooh. But like, you could totally rip that out of the story and it wouldn't matter because it has like no relevance.
But that's really
to the main
dumb.
plot.
That sounds super dumb.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing, that's not a plot hole.
No, it's not.
Okay, so we have the definitions out.
Define plot hole again?
Plot hole is just like an inconsistency.
Okay.
A contradiction or inconsistency.
And a convenience is a convenience. It's not inconsistent, it's just lazily written.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we've gotten all the semantics out of the way, the problem that I have with the sentiment behind what this person, what the intent behind that tweet is, this notion that like, oh, if we have a problem with plot holes, and that suddenly means that we want people in stories to be like robots and to be like completely illogical, and it's like you're trading one extreme for the other. It's like we can't have nuance, we can't have something that is somewhere in the middle and it makes more sense.
Yeah.
It just seems ridiculous to me. Like,
I have never been bothered by the fact that I can watch I can like go to Skyrim, I can eat a shit ton of food and I don't poop. That has never bothered me. In terms of a human functioning, that is a plot hole. But that doesn't bother me.
Oh man. Think about One Piece. Think about how impossible these powers are in terms of what it does to their clothes. Every time they use their powers, the clothes should just not be existent anymore because they should rip apart or they've turned into sand or whatever.
Or they're like burning or whatever.
How many shirts has Kenshiro gone through in Fist of the North Star? Like every episode, he like bulks up and rips his shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like in the tweet, they mentioned like we should focus more on the drama. That's the sort of stuff I don't care about. Like, oh, Luffy blows himself up and his shirt doesn't rip. Who cares? Whereas, it is more problematic when the characters are just acting any which way the plot needs them to without any motivation, or when the narrative continuity is broken because we decided we want to do this instead of this.
I think there's a difference between like a plot hole and like nitpicking.
Yeah, but that's the
I
question.
I think there's a Venn diagram.
It's a gradient.
When is a plot hole, and when is it a nitpick?
It just is at some point. I feel like trying to define this is not really constructive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be different for every person. Like, you ask a drill sergeant, to watch like a military movie, he's going to see all the inconsistencies as like huge problems with the film. While for like a layman, it's not going to matter.
Well, maybe it isn't. I mean, I watched this YouTube channel of the guy like reviewing and talking about sword fighting and stuff, and he also does movie reviews of fight scenes, and he can point out a billion things that are just wrong or don't make sense in terms of like how people actually fight with swords. But
my my dad works in construction. He has like his own company, and 2 or 3 days ago, I was at his house and I was watching Bob the Builder with my little sisters. And he was in the couch too, and he would not shut up about all the bad things. Like, why are you standing underneath the crane, Bob? There's a giant thing of cement on top, like just dangling on top of you. This is illegal. You're not supposed to do. I was just like, man, you're watching a cartoon.
For children.
For children.
Literal 2-year-old children.
For like babies.
Yes.
Like for fucking babies.
Yes.
But yeah, the YouTube guy I'm talking about, he does not get angry at these mistakes. He sometimes gets annoyed, but he understands why they happen in terms of, the difference between a movie and real life. Because turns out actual fighting in real life does not look
so
that cool. You fight someone with armor, you're fucked. You're not gonna get through that with a sword.
You're not gonna wield 2 swords, one in each hand. Are you insane? You lose all of the momentum.
Yeah, I remember watching this one video. This guy was like a weapons dude, and he had this like nitpick about how a lot of games make it so that your characters roll on the ground to get out of the way. And he had this demonstration where, like, look, if you do that in a real fight, someone's just going to hit you when you're trying to, roll on the ground.
Yeah, and your center of gravity, you have absolutely no control over it. So even if they just, like, kick you on the shoulder while you're down there, it's completely going to fuck you.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, for games, it works as, like, a visual. Like, it's this elaborate action that your character is doing, and, it very visibly conveys, like, okay, your character is getting out of the way, and they're, and in most games you'll have iframes during it, so, like, you're invincible while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it makes sense for a video game, but, like, in a real fight, yeah, no, you'll fucking kill yourself.
Every time someone does a spin attack, it's just like, that's bullshit. That's not a thing. It's at least with swords, it's not a thing. Like it might be a thing with kicking.
With guns.
No.
Gun kata.
No, when you kick, and you can
no-scope.
you can kind of feint where the kick is coming from and stuff. But
yeah,
that's a bit faster than with a sword. But yeah, anyway, let's get back on topic. What I take umbrage with this idea that pointing out plot holes is just nitpicking is that you mentioned this, Asa, when it becomes annoying when I notice the script taking over, when the character doesn't feel real anymore, when I notice, these characters are or when they are thrown into a situation and it's not like the natural evolving of events. It's just, oh no, they need to do this now. They need to be here now. And suddenly it's like, hey, that's the script talking. That's not a natural cause of events talking. And that is when I get taken out of a movie. And I don't want to be taken in a movie or a show or game or whatever. Like, I'm someone who immersion is very important to me. A lot of the stuff I love is something that I just forgot myself while experiencing it. And
Yeah, I agree. When we're watching a show or a movie, like for that moment, we want to get sucked in as if what we're watching is real. And a plot hole is a good way to rip us out of that sense of mind and go like, "Oh, wait, this isn't real."
Yeah, that's why it's really hard to write like that. I'm sure, but that's why it's so important to get your details straight and to just I don't know, proofread it, give it to other people. Like, just make sure every step is logical, and the characters feel real, and they would act like those characters would act. I mean, you can have media where characters make bad decisions all the time, but it needs to be set up. And that,
have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yes, I have. You seen any horror movie? Or like what is that movie? Green Room? Those kind of.
No, I haven't seen that.
Or Blue Ruin from the same director. Like, that is just people making bad decisions, but they are just fucking normal dudes in a high stress situation. They're gonna fuck up, and it costs them, and that's what makes it interesting.
I think some people focus too much on whether or not a character is being like logical when what's more important is if a character is being consistent. Like, if we know that a character to act a certain way, it doesn't matter if what they're doing is illogical. What matters is, does it feel like this is something that this character would do? Like, it doesn't matter if a character is like acting out, in emotion, but like, does it make sense that this character is emotional? Have we seen this character act emotionally before? Does the situation call for this emotion? And and if the character isn't acting, in a way that makes sense, in regards to like how we've known this character throughout that period of time, that we've watched the show, I think that can be a plot hole. Where like, well, no, why is this character who's normally angry all the time suddenly they're very nice, and there's no explanation for it.
He's not the Hulk anymore.
Well, that might be less a plot hole and more like a character inconsistency.
Well, the definitions also said inconsistency in character development.
Okay, then there you go. Yeah, that could be a plot hole as well. I can't think of anything like right at the top of my head that was like a clear like, this character's whatever, but like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about The Last of Us 2. Talking about Ellie. Yeah.
Talking about The Last of Us. You know what's a plot hole? Is
Acer, right now, you're like, every time they keep pulling me back in.
Yeah, hey, I'm that guy again. You know, as a plot hole, in Empire Strikes Back, there is a genuine plot hole with the escalation of time. Because Luke spends a lot of time with Yoda. Han Solo and Leia do not spend a lot of time. Luke's arc is much, much longer in terms of days spent. Unless Han Solo and Leia were hiding in that giant space worm guy for like a month. But what is not a plot hole, of course, is when Luke discovers it. Because he has the Force and it's set up in the world and it makes sense. But that's the sort of plot hole which doesn't really bother me, because I feel like, story, it still works.
It can be a problem. I'm thinking of the Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, especially in the last 2 seasons, is it the last season? I think. Like the one
I haven't seen it.
The one that's bad anyway. They have a lot of problems with people just teleporting all around. and like armies suddenly appearing here and there within the span of hours.
That's a big thing in the first seasons, isn't it? That it actually takes them a really long time to get from A to B.
Yeah, and I mean the world, like, because at the end of Game of Thrones, it's all just so condensed to these last remaining characters and what they are going to do about each other. In the beginning, it's also like so wide because you have so many plot threads and characters and kingdoms and all that stuff. But especially like in some of the battle scenes where armies are fighting in the last seasons, you just have, okay, this army shouldn't be here. Why are they suddenly here? And then they start fighting. And then there's scenes where one of the characters, basically he's about to die, and then he falls into a lake. And you think he's dead, but at the end of the episode or whatever, another character pulls that character out of the lake, like they just dove in after him. And it's the biggest bullshit because they are both wearing armor. And so they both would have just drowned, number one. And then you ask yourself, like, okay, that character is pulling that other character out of the water. And then next scene, they're back in the capital and they're fine. And it's like, you were just at a battlefield. How the fuck did you get back? You know? It's like you should be dead or captured right now. And this is a main character in a show that prides itself on all the characters being very vulnerable and mortal. Like anyone can die at any time in the show. And now you're giving people fucking plot armor to advance the story. That's where I think plot holes just become such a huge issue, because they destroy the dramatic stakes of what is happening.
Yeah. See, like that was another thing I didn't like about
That's actually a really good way of putting it.
Because, like, I think it's totally valid to be bothered by a plot hole. Like, maybe, you know, you're a nitpicky asshole and you're complaining about stuff that doesn't matter. But, like, if there's, like, a pretty significant, like what you're talking about, like, I'd say that's pretty significant. If there's, like, a huge, you know, gaping hole that doesn't get explained, why is it wrong to be bothered by that? You're trying to enjoy your experience. You're trying to watch something. You're trying to be immersed. You want to feel like you're a part of the world, and stuff like that compromises the integrity of that world. There's nothing wrong with feeling like, hey, you know, this world that felt so real to me now is starting to feel fake. Like, we all know intellectually it's not real, but like when we are suspending our disbelief and we're trying to watch, we want it to at least be internally consistent so that we can enjoy the story and not feel like we're being distracted by stuff that, you know, that reminds us that, like, hey, this is a show made by people.
God, that's why I hate it so fucking much when someone tells me, like, oh, look at this nerd, he's getting upset about a plot hole in a fantasy story with dragons and elves. Like,
that's such a bullshit.
The fucking laws of physics still apply to this world, you asshole. And dragons existing is not an inconsistency. That's just part of the fucking world. And maybe it doesn't even make sense that a dragon who, like, weighs this much and has these, you know, this wingspan could even fly. That's not important, but the existence of a dragon and the existence of magic is part of the rules of the world, and I'm gonna hold that world to these rules that it's set up by itself.
Yeah, like if in Game of Thrones a character all of a sudden starts flying and, like, you know, starts farting out firecrackers or something ridiculous like that, and you point out, like, hey, that's fucking dumb. That doesn't make sense. You know, there's no build up to this. Like, there's no reason for something like this to happen. And if the response is, oh, well, the show has dragons and shit, you know, like, no, shut up. The world is established up to that point that dragons are a thing. The world is not established that people can fly and shit firecrackers.
God, I
don't know why I picked shit. I don't know why I picked shitting firecrackers, but there you go.
That also goes into why, this character, like, why it doesn't matter if the people don't poop. There's no dramatic stakes for Link, like Link to the Past. I don't need Link to eat. I don't need him to be a real human being. That doesn't matter in terms of like the narrative. What matters in the narrative is that he like does these things and saves all the princesses and all that stuff.
Like, how fucking lame would it be if, like, he's in the middle of fighting Ganon, and then he's like, wait, Ganon, stop, I need to take a piss.
That's a Hideo Kojima game right there. But yeah, there's a difference between reality and dramatic reality. And I think a plot hole is a problem when it disrupts the dramatic reality. That's a problem. In terms of reality, I think you can do away with most of that.
I remember reading this interview a while ago with an animator from Ufotable, and he was saying
is that how you pronounce that?
What is that?
They're an animation.
Yeah,
studio.
I know. I did.
What
did
they make?
I always pronounce it Ufotable. I mean,
I thought it's like
UFO
table, honestly.
Some people say that. Some people say UFO table. Whatever.
What did they make?
They made Karno Kyokai. They made Fate Zero. They made that new anime Demon.
Oh yeah.
Demon Slayer or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that movie is coming out soon.
Anyways, the point is in the interview, one of the animators said that we're not trying to replicate reality. We are trying to create a hyper reality. And I think that's the same in a lot of fiction, where they're not trying to perfectly emulate reality. They're creating like an idealized version of reality.
Yeah.
Anyways, someone is calling me. Just give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Every time.
I'm not editing this.
Yeah, you
time.
are. Shut up.
How hard is it to tell your friends, hey man, I'm doing a podcast?
How hard
Maybe
is it to
you
not
can call
answer
later.
the fucking phone? Like, just don't answer the phone. How hard? What? I never answer my phone.
But it could be my mother.
I don't give a like, who cares? Whatever she wants can wait for another 10 minutes.
Well, maybe she had a heart attack. I don't know.
Like, when I get a call and I don't want to talk, which is always, I just deny the call and then I write that person on WhatsApp and tell them, no, I can't talk right now. What is it?
You know WhatsApp. I think that's one of those Chinese spyware apps, isn't it? No, is that WeChat?
That's WeChat, I think.
WhatsApp.
I think WhatsApp was was
WhatsApp.
bought by Facebook?
Yeah, it's like Facebook or Twitter or something.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
He's back. Isn't it incredible how you, the audience, went with us throughout this phone call of Daniel's?
You didn't even hear the phone call. What are you talking about?
No.
No.
We just made fun of you.
Yeah. Teehee.
Anyways. Where'd we leave off?
Yeah.
I think we were kind of done.
Destroyed our flow.
Hyper-reality.
Yeah, hyper reality. I mean, I already made my point.
Last point I'm going to make is making fun of plot holes can be really enjoyable.
Sure.
Like some of my favorite movie reviews. I'm thinking of yourmoviesucks.org when he reviewed, what the fuck's that? Amusement, I think it's called. It's just some shitty C horror movie. It's like the movie is so nonsensical and it's so enjoyable just listening to him make fun of it, and then even like thinking of criticisms of what's happening that he isn't even thinking of, like watching a movie where you go, how the fuck did you even write this? That can be very fun. So I don't know. That is just constant nitpicking, because the movie is nothing but dumb nitpicks. But that can also be very fun.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say, like, because Acer brought this up earlier, that there is, like, a nugget of, like, a good point of, like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, I think I think most things have at least some plot holes. Like, even, like, the best written stories, you can't escape
Empire
it.
Strikes Back.
Yeah, even, like, you can't escape it. You know, somewhere along the way, there's going to be at least something that doesn't make total sense,
Oh, yeah.
and that's fine. You know, like and just because something has a plot hole or two, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to ruin the story for you. Like, you could still thoroughly enjoy it, and the plot hole may not even bother you, and that's totally fair. Um, I think when you know, when a plot hole becomes a problem, I think it's also on a case by case basis, and it also depends on the person. It depends on like what they enjoy, what they don't, and you know what they allow to bother them. You know, there are certain stories where like I'm still really into them, even though I can acknowledge like yeah that part you know doesn't make a ton of sense, but whatever. What I take from the story is so good that I can forgive the plot hole. And I find it kind of weird because some people kind of wear it like a badge of honor whenever they find like a plot hole and they're like, haha, I'm so smart. And it's like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, and they'll try to and they'll try to lord it over people as well. It's like, oh, you like this thing? Well, this thing has this plot hole and that plot hole, and I think that can be kind of like really dickish behavior too. It's like, you know, whatever, dude. Like, clearly they see something in it that you don't, and you know, what they took from it isn't going to suddenly be invalidated just because you may have pointed out a plot hole. And what may or not even be a plot hole is also subject to debate. Like, you know, maybe someone will think, oh, this is a plot hole, but it also could be because they didn't pay attention, and that actually did get explained. So,
yeah,
it's messy.
It's very difficult to just really pinpoint down what is and isn't a plot hole. I just recently had a discussion about the new Star Trek Discovery season, where I was like, this world building.
Oh, that show you hate, but watch.
Yeah. Where I was like, this world building makes no fucking sense. But he gave me a different viewpoint on one of the main ingredients of what they're going for right now, and you know, I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they didn't even get to explore that fully yet, and I need to wait a bit more.
Maybe it's a good show.
No, like regardless of that, it's still a shit show anyway. Like even if that big detail makes sense, that doesn't make any of the characters act any more rational. Like,
isn't one of the problems with that show that it has like it's Patrick Stewart, but it's not Jean-Luc Picard?
No, Discovery, not Picard.
Oh, I'm sorry. But Picard, that's the problem there, that Patrick Stewart isn't playing the same character anymore.
Well, yeah, and also everything else. Also, Star Trek isn't Star Trek anymore. It's just the Federation. It's not the Federation anymore. Like all these things that you loved about the old show. Like, no, we've defeated racism and drug problems and poverty. They're all back now. You know, like, and everything is shit.
That was Gene Roddenberry's whole thing, that characters don't have conflicts. Inter-character conflicts, yeah. In the future, everyone works together. And then CBS had better plans.
Well, they even got rid of that in Deep Space Nine. But in Deep Space Nine, it was done very well because it took place way outside of the heart of the Federation, where, you know, the Federation can't just reach everything and restore order. So the actual morals and guidelines of the Federation out there, like, really get tested, and the Federation people get tested.
I probably would like that. That's what I like about, like, Superman, when he has to have his morals tested.
Yeah, you probably need to watch a bunch of, like, regular Star Trek in order to appreciate Deep Space Nine, but Deep Space Nine is incredible.
Oh, it builds on like the lore, or
no? You just need
to understand the universe.
You need a feel. You need to understand the feeling of normal Star Trek to understand what they're subverting.
That's true.
I mean, I've seen like 10,
I can just watch Star Trek Discovery, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like 10 or so episodes of the original Star Trek. That's good enough.
Sure.
Right?
I would recommend some good TNG episodes. I actually watched some TOS recently, and I did not enjoy it. That shit is corny as fuck.
The original series.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's corny as fuck. Came out in the 60s.
Yeah, but also like it just wasn't as well written as TNG, and it also wasn't as political. It's just, I don't know.
It came out in the 60s. What do you expect?
I know, but I've been trying. I wanted to give that show a shot, but it just felt like worse TNG. And I'm sure someone is getting very angry as they say that.
Would you like to see that Quentin Tarantino movie about 60s Star Trek? See, I've never watched Star Trek, but I would watch the hell out of that. Well, see him like spit shine that style.
Tarantino is. I would watch that anyway, and I would not even get mad. Like Tarantino is just Tarantino. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, he rarely misses. Dude is a fucking amazing director.
I think that's the episode then.
I would say so.
We're on Tarantino talk now.
All right then. Acer, you've come out with a few episodes of your own thing.
Yeah.
Videos.
Yes, I have. I'm betraying you guys for a more popular podcast.
That's not what I was referring to, but okay.
Oh,
wait, you did?
What were you referring to?
What the fuck were you on?
I was on with Sinclair Lore a couple of times. We talked about like the transition from Kingsfield to modern FromSoft, and then we talked about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay.
And soon we're planning to do a couple of episodes on Amnesia, the series.
Well, don't forget to come back when we're talking about high school little girl anime.
Oh yeah, of course. How can I?
Wait, what? You talking shit about? Don't you fucking dare!
Oh, is that Kyoyo no Kyokai?
There's like barely any high school.
Oh, how dare you! How dare you force me to watch high school anime, Daniel?
Dude,
you monster!
That's only in movie 2, and that's it.
Nah, I probably won't care. It's good, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, then I probably won't care.
Like, and they're even in movie 2, they're barely in the fucking school. I don't even know what the school's fucking name is.
I don't care. I don't care about high school anime when it's good, like Kaguya or Code Geass or Kyoyu no Kyokai.
But it's not a high school anime. Like,
I snuck Code Geass in there. Did you notice?
I mean, Code Geass is a high school anime. That's a fact.
At this point, I feel like I need to find more anime that is not about high schoolers. Like, that shit is actually rare.
Okay. Okay, but in the first movie, they're no longer high schoolers. They're only high
not
schoolers
even
in movie
like
2.
Fucking stop getting so defensive. I'm not even talking shit about Karo no Kyokai. I'm just talking in general.
Not. I'll fucking murder you. Murder speculation. Part 1.
But yeah, Daniel, what were you talking about?
Oh, fucking Ico. And Shadow of the Colossus.
I did Ico last August, I think.
I actually hadn't watched it until like a couple of days ago. Your Ico video. Because you mentioned that there was going to be spoilers for The Last Guardian, but I don't even remember you mentioning any spoilers for it.
No, it's I think I don't know. I don't think I said spoilers. I think I said I draw, like, I make points which don't make sense if you haven't played it. Where it's okay. And it's like the Tempest kind of spoiler, where it's like, this is what The Last Guardian is about.
Okay. You also released a video on Shadow of the Colossus, which I
did.
need to check out.
I did. It's very long.
It is very long.
It wasn't supposed to be long, but it got long.
You'll forgive me if I don't watch it.
That's okay.
Don't worry,
I'm fucking done with these 1 hour, 2 hour videos. Like, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck it.
We all... Bogan's ADD.
This coming from a guy that made an hour-long video on Legacy of Kain.
Literally the only hour-long video. I mean, okay, my Bojack video is going to be an hour long too. I can already tell.
Ah, you fucking bitch!
It's not my fault. I wish it wasn't. I don't set out to
It
do
is
that.
your fault. It literally is your fault. You're the one making it.
And you're also the one who's levying this standard as somehow representative of what should and shouldn't be watched.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm living to that. It's not even a standard. It's just me.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, I made the Shadow of a Colossus video. I'm not doing Shadow Tower this month. Big betrayal to everyone. Life kind of got in the way during those last few weeks. But I have big plans for December.
I just don't understand how you could just sit there and just like bang out a fucking like hour-long script. Like Jesus.
I don't have many friends.
That usually helps.
Yeah.
And Boken, you're kind of come out. I mean, as of this recording, it's not out yet, but I'm assuming you're coming out with that video on sharp objects soon.
That is coming in an hour or so.
Oh, okay. Then.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got to see.
Way
it
to date the
before-
video, Daniel.
Shut up. I got to see it before it went up, and I thought it was really good, really
Thank
interesting.
you. I've been
made me want to watch the show.
I've been sitting on that script for over a year. I wrote that script in my I basically came up with that script when there wasn't a pandemic outbreak, where I just praise being in crowded streets and filled malls. You know, that comes off a bit
Those dark
bit
times.
problematic right now, but yeah, I won't wait any longer to release that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And as for me, I should have my Getting Into Gundam video up by the next episode. And I'm still working on the Silent Hill 4 and Scott Pilgrim scripts, so hopefully those come out soonish.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. And that's an episode. That's a wrap.
Want to thank our
Unless you guys-
sponsors over at Loot Crate. You can get your Loot Crate.
Dude, Loot Crate's dead. Can't even make that joke.
You want to
It's been
create
gone
a
for so
homepage?
long.
You go to Squarespace. Go to www.
Do you have a mattress? Do you need a mattress? Where do you sleep? Do you sleep on a cardboard box? Well, do I have news for you? It's Mattress King, or whatever that company's name is.
thought it was
It's
Casper.
Lisa.
It's Casper
Wait,
Mattresses.
is it Casper? I thought it's Lisa.
I've
Oh,
only
we have
heard
two.
Casper.
We have two
Oh.
mattress sponsors.
Fuck. Don't let them
Is there
know
two?
that we're promoting competition.
Let them know
Raycon.
where we came from.
Raycon, we'll sponsor you. Come on.
And here's my link for Audible. Boken, you have your link, right?
Audible should sponsor us. You know how many fucking audiobooks I've bought over the years?
You know what? Audible is the only one of these that I would even remotely consider putting into my regular videos, because I genuinely love Audible.
I mean, I literally, right after I saw Goodfellas, I literally bought the audiobook about how Goodfellas was made.
There's this drink in Germany. I don't think it is anywhere else in the world. It's called Club Mate. Like it's basically, it's not iced tea, but it's sort of iced tea with a, is it mate? That, tea, the
Matcha tea leaves.
is it matcha? That might be it. Anyway, that
Matcha.
yeah, I don't know if that is a translation. Anyway, the point is that that is my favorite drink ever. It's fucking so good, and I just want them to sponsor me to go to tournaments. Like I don't even need money. I just need the right to use their names. I'm gonna do it for free.
You just want the free tea.
Yeah, maybe give me like 5 bottles a week. That's all I'm asking for. I'm gonna carry your name, Club Mate. Make it happen.
How much longer
All right.
can we make this shill part of the episode?
Make sure to click the link down below for Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh, Raid Shadow Legend. They offered me $400 once. I told him to go fuck themselves.
Apparently, it's not matcha. It's mate.
Ooh.
You know, it's funny. I got a comment. Someone thought for some reason that my video was sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and I was like, where do you see that in the video? They're like, well, they could have sent you the money anyways. And I was like, why the fuck would Raid Shadow Legends send me money for a video I'm not sponsoring them for?
I put it in my video where I told people, like, by the way, I was like, hey, here's a Patreon if you want to give some money, and I was that was my shill episode, and I told them, like, I actually had to say no to a Raid Shadow Legends ad. Please don't play that shit. And somebody in the comment was like, joke's on you. YouTube put a Raid Shadow Legend on the video anyway. I was like, oh god damn it. So
that's actually pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Anyways, that's the episode, guys. Show's over.
Show's over,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
What is this low energy sign off? Goodbye, everyone. Why don't you comment down below your favorite plot holes?
Get the fuck out of here.